business is really warfare, but it's the activity of life itself. You say, well, business means I need to open up a business. Okay, yeah, that's right. But real activity of life has to deal with all the essentials of life that we must provide for ourselves, our families, our future. I have something in my pocket that, gee, where is it? Oh, yeah. I have a gold coin. In 1961, I was sitting with Elijah Muhammad, and he took out of his pocket a gold coin. This is 1 ounce of gold, pure gold, okay? Mr. Muhammad put it on the table. He said, one day soon, this gold coin will be the new medium of exchange. White people are moving into the inner city. Some of them knocking on doors. They come with money and they ask you for your gold. Because what they're giving you, I think I got some of that in my pocket. Yeah, I think I do. Now this is paper. This is not real money. This is real money. Silver as real money. Now you young people, some of the elders in the audience, like myself, this used to be called a silver certificate. How many old people in here know when this was a silver certificate? And you know what it said on the bottom? Pay to the bearer on demand $50 in silver, the real money. This is what you call monopoly money. Oh, you didn't hear me. We're going to do some business tonight. Because business is really warfare. What's about to happen? This week it came out in the news that in 2016, all the major banks are in trouble. It started with J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. What makes a bank in trouble? When the value of the paper that they have begins to lose its value, then the bank is in serious trouble. And so are we who have our money in the bank. Now, white people that are in your neighborhood, they're in the pawn shop now, and they're telling you in the window, bring the gold, we got cash for you. They know you don't know that this is losing its value every day. But gold will increase in value. Now this one here, I bought it today, or sent a brother to get it today, because I wanted to use it to explain something. 1 ounce of gold, this little piece right here, is 12. She wants black and brown bodies. Now you're useful. They don't give a doggone about how black lives matter until they want to use black lives to accomplish their wicked ends. They're trying to provoke Iran. I would like to say to the president, Mr. President, it would not be a wise move for you, because you're already $23 trillion in debt, and you don't have any money to prosecute a war. So if you don't have the money to prosecute a war, the Federal Reserve is printing money every day. So you will have to come to the Federal Reserve to borrow money that you don't have to prosecute a war in a time when any little thing could cause the dollar to fall and the stocks to fall. In 1962,
all right, greetings everyone. How's everyone doing on this beautiful Tuesday night? So this is your brother Supreme X, CEO of Far Money Network family, and I want to say assalamu alaikum to all other Muslims that are viewing on the line. If you're not a Muslim, that only means peace be unto you. But we do want to open up and let you get an understanding on what this broadcast is about, that we started about 2 years ago or so. We want to just let everybody know that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is my spiritual father, my spiritual teacher. He has been teaching about us doing for self and group economics since the 70s. Might as well go back to the 60s, right? So when he says certain things like the dollar's gonna fall, the Federal Reserve is a Ponzi scheme, you know, we being his students, we have to go and find the facts in the articles that make it true to you, because we know he's telling the truth, right? And we knowing that he got everything that he's telling us from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the first one to tell us about the fake money scam, which is the dollar. He was the first one to tell us that. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is just that kind, clear reminder. So don't get mad at the messenger. I'm just a messenger from the messenger, right? And we knowing that the messenger that's on the scene today, that's none other than the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So we have many, many clips where he breaks this science down. So I seen it as an assignment for me to help my spiritual father, who has sacrificed so much for the black liberations and black people all over the planet, not just in America, but all over the planet, has sacrificed his whole life. And he asked for us to help him in the economic field. He asked us to help him in that financial sector, because the last enemy we got to get off of, the last slave master, oppressor that we got to get free from, is the almighty dollar. He got us. They got us with the dollar. They got us with the banking system. They got us. This is just a fact. So he said that any little thing would cause the stocks to fall and cause the dollar to fall. That was in 2019 with that last clip that we showed. So let's go and take a look before we get into our main topic, because today, what we're finna show you tonight, we're finna show you tonight how it's 23 countries that is abandoning the dollar. 23, including China, Russia, and Germany. They abandoned the dollar. So we're going to show you that article too that was released just a few days ago. Then we got an article that was released back in May where the Federal Reserve is spending on mortgage-backed securities and treasury bonds $120 billion a month. That's 1.2 trillion with a T dollars a month with your money. They ain't fixing up the roads. They ain't fixing up the schools. They ain't fixing the homeless problem, the hunger problem. They ain't fixing none of that. So we're going to show you the real pyramid scheme, the real Ponzi scheme, and it's going to come from the words of the mouth of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because he's been saying this for the longest, who the synagogue of Satan is. He's been saying for the long who the real crooks is. This is not new information, but we want to make it clearer because somehow we just don't get it. We have too much faith in the dollar. We have too much faith in the job. We got to understand that the dollar is debt itself. The dollar represents debt that we pay. And here's the proof. Here's the proof. This is the United States debt clock. And you can go here to Google and type this in, and you can come here and watch this debt clock in real time. Go to UnitedStatesDebtClock.org. Go to real time debt clock. So let's take a look at the debt, because we want to highlight this first before we get into our subject matter, which is a part of our subject matter. Let's go. National debt. I hope y'all see this. I hope this is clear enough and big enough, because I don't want nobody to say, brother, that ain't what this means. This is what it means. You come here and study this for yourself. The national debt, United States national debt. That means everybody that is a citizen or so-called citizen, we are part and tied to this debt. That's this national debt. Look at the national debt. 28 trillion with a T, 545 billion, 293 million, and it's finna turn a million right here while we talking. That's the national debt. That means with all the taxpayers and the citizens, that's us. That's what we supposed to owe. But who do we owe? Well, we owe the Federal Reserve. Well, who is the Federal Reserve? Oh, that's the international bankers. Then it has right here, debt per citizen. So every citizen in the United States with a Social Security number, you are a private corporation, you owe $85,605 of this debt. Taxpayer, if you're a W-2, W-4 worker, or if you're a taxpayer, right? So, because a citizen can be somebody that don't pay taxes, which can be what? 15-year-old, a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 1-year-old. This is a scam. This is a scam. This is what it looked like. So, the debt per taxpayer, so if you're a taxpayer, business owner, small business owner, entrepreneur, W-2 worker, W-4 worker, 1099, don't matter, you're a taxpayer, right? Including myself. You owe $226 trillion, $794. You owe over $220,000 in debt. Now let's go further now, because it don't stop there. It get interesting once we get past there. So that's what you owe. I don't care what type of citizen you think you are. I don't care who you think you are. You owe this debt. So when we hear the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan talking about generations to come, they have no future. Why? Because the American children, whether black, white, Jew, Gentile, Christian, Hebrew, Muslim, it don't matter. They born into this debt. Always remember that. They born into this debt. And it started back in 1913, but I don't get into that. We're going to let the minister teach you about that. Not me. He going to teach you about it. All right? Then we got, look at this. United States federal spending official. So the official spending of the federal government, which is Joe Biden budget. This is President Biden and his administration. That's the federal government. $6,815,328,000,000. It's going to go up some millions right now while we on here. right? So just check that out. The national debt clock then went up several million since we've been on this stream. Several. This thing is running in real time. Why? Because they're constantly printing more and more dollars. Now, that's the official spending. But the United States federal budget deficit, the budget deficit. So they are literally spending $3.7 trillion over the budget. They already said that Joe Biden, President Biden, is spending more than President Trump was spending. They already said that. So look, this is what it means. So the actual spending, official, right? The official spending, that's what they putting down. But the budget deficit is 3.1, almost $3.2 trillion. So they're spending literally $6.6 trillion over the budget. Then you have down here, this is kind of blurred out, but it's here. It says United States federal spending actual. So they have actually spending over $7 trillion. Then they got this blurred out. United States federal budget deficit actual spending, which actual budget deficit is 3.3 trillion. Then we go down. It don't stop, family. Listen, I know this is hard. I know this is hard for you to sit through this and listen to this, because why? Because you got to go to work. You work for the dollar. You sell products for the dollar. We worship the dollar. We give our time for the dollar. Without the dollar, we can't have lights. We can't have water. So I know this is hard for you to sit through and listen at and let us make these points so you can get a better understanding on what we mean when we say that the dollar is monopoly money, the dollar is fake money, that the dollar is a pyramid scheme. No. It's not a pyramid scheme. So we want to break down these words. A scheme means a thought out plan. You can go look up the word yourself. The dollar is a pyramid scam. It's a scam. This is a real live Ponzi scam. Damn scheme. They beyond planning it, right? This is in motion, and it's been going on since 1913. This is not hype. This is not doom and gloom either, because we got an opportunity on the back end. If you will take action, because you're going to have to, or you're going to be in the streets wilding in just a minute. Then you got the United States federal debt to GDP ratio. See, in 1960, the ratio was 52.65%, 1960. 20 years later, it dropped, so the economy got better. 1980, it was 32.63%. Then in 2000, it skyrocketed back up. The debt went over the GDP 57.10%. That was in 2000. 21 years later, the debt is 128.28% over the GDP. So they pulling in 120. So the debt is 128% over what America is producing in gross domestic product. Gross domestic product, $22.252 billion. That's the GDP. You see the national debt. Now that's the GDP. But it don't stop there. Please bear with me. It don't stop there. Let's go down. Then we got largest budget items. Unfunded debt interest. Look at this. The total debt. Hold on. How do they got a national debt and they got a total debt? Well, because they don't just get money from the Federal Reserve. They borrow money from Russia, China, Japan. They borrow money from all these countries. But that debt don't come to the citizens. That's the government. So-called. But they'll never pay this debt. Why? Because these countries are going to call this debt and they want gold. They don't want dollars. So the total debt is $85,314,750,000,000 and counting. And it's going to go up a couple million while we sit here right here on this screen. You looking at the scam in real time. But the problem is we can see it, but the majority of us don't understand it and we can't teach it. So we stay away from this debt. We had no mention of this scam right here. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan say, when the dollar falls, whatever you got in paper, you're going to lose it. Let me say that again. So all you ones that got mortgages out here, you better pay that mortgage off. You better pay the mortgage off. You better pay the mortgage off before the dollar falls. Because when it falls, they coming to get that property. Because you do not own it. It belongs to the bank. So if the dollar falls, what you going to pay the mortgage with? We just want you to think now. Hey, that's what we're doing for our Money Network. We take complex things and we make it simple, but we want you to think. You ain't got to listen to me. You ain't got to listen to me. I'm preparing. This is survival. This is wartime. You better be prepared. You better prepare your family. Because it's one thing to tell you to prepare for the phantom, for the food shortage. We saw a glimpse of that when COVID first hit. So it's one thing to tell you to prepare for that. But it's a lack of responsibility if we don't tell you how to prepare for the collapse of the dollar. Like I said, this ain't doom and gloom. Because if it's a wealth, this is a wealth transfer. The wealth is never destroyed. It just transferred. It's going somewhere. We just want to show you how to get in front of it. If you just want to survive, you don't want to get wealthy. Because a lot of people get wealthy when there's a crash going on. Right? Y'all saw that money Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Warren Buffett, and Elon Musk made in the first 90 days of the pandemic. That was a crisis. They made billions of dollars. Billions of dollars in a crisis. So we're just going to show you how to get in front of a trend, how to get in front of a wave. But we're going to come back to that. But we wanted to show y'all this. So before we get into the rest of our broadcast, now over here to the right, you can see here it got dollar to gold ratio 1913, dollar to gold ratio now. What the price of gold was, the dollar to gold ratio, dollar to silver, and it also got dollar to crypto ratio right here. Right? Ratio now, dollar to crypto ratio 2013. It even got dollar to oil ratio. So you just study this, understand. So this is showing you what real money is and how you can survive and what you can do. But get this, study this. Don't worry, don't try to understand it. Just take action. Don't take too long trying to study and you don't take action, because we never know when the dollar is going to fall. It can fall any day now, completely. Right? It's some factors. It's some more factors that got to happen first, but be prepared. My study. This is Supreme X. I'm saying that the dollar gonna crash within the next 5 years. It won't go past 5 years, and I've been saying that for about 2 years. So I'm saying that the dollar won't be in existence or be spendable past 2025. So you got about 3.5 years to get yourself in position. Because when this happens, when this crash happens, all you got to do, look at what's going on in Lebanon, Libya, Venezuela. Just take a look. They national currencies fail. Their governments fail. What's going on? That's what we're going to see hit the shores of America like we have never seen it. That what you see going on in South Africa, Johannesburg, that what you see going on in Cuba and Haiti, that's coming here. Remember, this is business, this is warfare. The Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan said, war is business. Let me say that again. I said, that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, war is business. Business is warfare. Man, listen, y'all understand. We got a divine man among us that's teaching us this. But before we get into our next topic, we just want to say, if you haven't subscribed to the Digital Final Call, the only international black newspaper that's uncensored, that can't be manipulated. You got real news, true news. Please go subscribe at the link running at the bottom of the screen. That's going to be running throughout the duration of this broadcast. www.finalcalldigital.com. You can get you a 3-day subscription where it will go to your phone, laptop, computer, or whatever, or the best newspaper on the planet. It's the only international black newspaper on the planet. That's that, right? Then, if you want to help us grow economically, if you want to help us expand, you want to help us get more farmland, more shelter, more land for development, for manufacturing our needs, then donate to Muhammad's Economic Blueprint, www.economicblueprint.org. That's going to be at the bottom of the screen. And if you want to join Forward Money Network and get yourself some individual wealth, get yourself some individual luxury, get yourself outside of this scam that I just showed you, then go and make an account at www.forwardmoney.com. Sign up as a customer. And then we're going to show you how to get your hand on assets, real, tangible assets, and how to unbank yourself from that banking system that we just exposed. All right? So, and also, family, we also have a project going on that we've been running since February the 2nd called Project Exodus 10,000, which is a remake of, because it was left there, so I said, like, why not? You know, let's modernize what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave us in the early 1990s going into the 2000s for us to help get some financial freedom among our people. At first, it was called Project Stillaway. And then he changed the name and it was Project Exodus. So we saying Project Exodus 10,000. Now we're not using the products that he was mentioning and talking about, but we have the same mindset, the same model, right? We have the same model about getting free from it. So I'm going to show a clip on when he talked about that. But before we do that, go to store.finalcall, store.finalcall.com, store.finalcall.com. Somebody type that in Facebook and on YouTube, and go and order the books. What books do you need to get first? Well, the first book you need to get if you're in America, if you, period, anywhere on the planet, you need to get Message to the Black Man. You need to get this book. You need to have it. The next book you need to get is Fall of America. So you get this book, these books, everything that I'm saying will make way more sense than you just hearing me talking about it. You need to get this book, and then don't stop there though. Then you need to get this book here, so powerful they banned it on Amazon. You can't even get this on Amazon. But this gonna break down how the Zionists took control of our economy, how they started the banking system, how they networked their money to get where they're at today. And the Most Honorable Muhammad told us in Message to the Black Man, study the operations of the white man. He is successful. He don't make no excuses. See, we make too many damn excuses. We don't get up and do. When somebody make a mistake, we just, it knocks us off our path. Because we too big with ego, we too big with pride. And we hate to listen to another black man. We hate that. We gotta find flaw with him. We got to. We just like that. They made us like that. Slavery made us like that. Go and get this book, family. You want to get unlocked and you want to see how they got this scam going on, this banking system, how they took control, how they was peddlers, then they started being networkers, then they started being storefront owners, then they started taking over banks and setting up the banking system. That credit that you love, the Jews set that up. The Jews set that up. If you're a Muslim, that's called usury. Now, if you're using credit to get you some assets, That's about the best way you can do that. So this book was banned off Amazon. They made that punk Jeff Bezos take this book off Amazon. That ought to tell you something, black man, black woman. That ought to tell you some Jew, so-called Jew, if you're watching. That ought to tell you something. And everything written in this book comes from the mouth of a Jewish scholar, a Jewish rabbi, a Jewish professor. The Nation of Islam just put it together, found it, and everywhere they found it and who they quote, they give you the reference point, and you can go and get the book and find the articles in what was written about the transatlantic slave trade and how the Jew had a hand in that, but they want to hide it from you because they've been polling like our friend. But the sun is out. And who is the sun? Well, it ain't me. It's Mr. Louis Farrakhan. Let's listen at him.
Hell and set up heaven right on earth. And it's so simple. We have a project that we are working on. We call it Project Steal Away, an FOI and MGT financial freedom plan. We want every brother and every sister within the next year to be able to say, I do not work for white folks anymore. I work for myself. Now look, do you realize what it takes to build a hospital? Do you realize what it takes to build a university? You can't build a hospital and a university. You can't buy tens of thousands of acres of land to feed our people if we're just gonna wait on the little money you make from the white man to give a little charitable donation. We'll be around here for the next 1,000 years talking about building a school or a hospital. Do you realize that if we took this financial freedom plan and said, look, I'm really going to try and work for myself. I'm going to use my life in a better way. I'm going to stop believing that there's some mystery God that's going to change reality for me. I'm going to change the reality in my own life. Brother, when you start thinking like that, you will start using the power of your own self, and you'll see that you got all the power you need to change reality. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the fire of the sun is the life and the energy that energizes our universe. He said the fire of the sun is in all of us. So that means you've got light, you've got power. It just has to be turned on, activated. Now just think with me in the closing minutes of this lecture, what damage it does to your mind to think that there's a mystery God. Check this out. I'm at home and I'm hungry. My children are hungry. And I go in my next room and I pray, Lord, give us this day our daily bread. Amen. And I come out and sit down. Children, don't worry. The Lord is going to take care of everything. You keep on sitting there, doing nothing, praying that the Lord will give you some daily bread. See, if you and your family don't starve to death, waiting on the Lord. But if you went in your room and said, Lord, you're going to do it because you got control over conditions. So now, Lord, I'm going to work in my wheat field. I'm plowing it up, and I'm planting wheat, because you can't have bread without wheat or flour. So I'm doing my part. Then God sends the clouds with the rain, and the earth does its part. And before you know it, I got a field of wheat, and I grind the wheat into flour, and then I make me some daily bread. I'm not talking about daily the mayor giving you bread. I'm talking about you going to work daily producing your own bread. If you sit around and wait for a mystery God, you're going to be poor, ragged, hungry, naked, and out of doors. Any of you Muslims who call yourself followers of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, they're still working for the Caucasian and still planning to stay there with him. You don't follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If you follow the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you know that the white man is going to dump black people, and he already has dumped a great portion of us. He doesn't have no more jobs for our young men. So what are we going to do? Allow our young men to be swallowed up selling drugs? Or are we going to call our young men and say, no, we got to go to work and create jobs for ourselves? I'm saying steal away. If you can't walk away, steal away, and let's go on and do something for ourselves.
All right, family. So you heard it there, what we got going on with our Project Exodus 10,000. And I am a living witness, a living example of it, because I didn't steal away. I walked away from the job almost 4 years ago. I walked away from a job. I ain't had no retirement, no pension, or nothing like that. It's over. It's done. I'm unemployable. Right? I'm a walking bank. But let's get into this topic, family. So, family, what do we have here? All right, so we talked about the Federal Reserve spending $120 billion a month on assets, on paper assets, mortgage-backed securities, which is real estate, which is the property that some of us paying mortgages on right now. That's what that is. And they also are getting, what else they're getting? They're also getting $80 billion worth of treasury bonds. The treasury bond is what create the dollar in the first place. They already getting paid 6% annual return interest on that comes out from the taxpayers. So now they're buying the bonds back so they can manipulate the stock markets. They got all of that. So let's look at it, because you don't got to listen to me. You ain't got to listen to me. I ain't nobody, right? I ain't nobody. I'm just telling you the signs of business. And I'm breaking down to you what business is warfare really means. This is warfare. We've been at war for our financial stability since we've been over here in America. And all American people, I don't care if you white, I don't care if you Chinese, I don't care what your racial background is, what your religion is, you at war. We've been at war with this banking system since 1913. So we all got to come together. So this just ain't a black message. This is a message for everybody. All right? If you understand. All right, so let me pull up this article. Oh, wow. So y'all see me? Okay, I'm freezing up a little bit. So let me hurry up and wrap this up. So for some reason, I got the top of the line Wi-Fi, but it ain't acting right. Okay, everybody see me. Y'all still hear me, okay? We're having some difficulty. That might be the enemy, but I think it's my Wi-Fi. Okay, so check this out. This was May the 25th. We're just going to read partial of it because we want to give you actual facts. We don't want to just talk from the cup without giving you the facts about it. Now, we did a video back in May or early June specifically about this, but we're going to go more into it right now. I mean, we just want to highlight it real quick. So it's dated May the 15th, May the 25th, 2021, Washington. A top Federal Reserve official said he expects to begin discussing a reduction in the central bank's massive asset purchases at a common policy meeting while stressing the need to closely monitor economic data. There will come a time in coming meetings we will be at the point where we can begin to discuss scaling back the pace of asset purchases. Fed Vice Chairman Richard said in an interview on Yahoo Finance, it's going to depend on the flow of data that we get. Now check this out. Since last June, that's talking about June of 2020. Since June of 2020, a year ago, the Fed has been buying $80 billion of Treasury debt. That's the bond. Our Treasury securities. But them the bonds. The bonds is what create the debt in the first place. Oh man, this thing is so deep. In 40 billion, 80 billion Treasury debt, the bonds, Treasury bonds. 40 billion of mortgage-backed securities each month to hold down long-term borrowing costs. The policy, also known as quantitative easing, provides the economy with support beyond the near zero overnight interest rates the Fed has maintained since March of 2020. Since 2020. So listen, family. Do y'all listen? That's $120 billion that they putting into the stocks, because that's what a Treasury bond really is. It's a stock. Because when they create, see, you got to go and watch The Hidden Secrets of Money by Mike Maloney. Go watch episode 4 of The Hidden Secrets of Money by Mike Maloney, and then you're gonna get this real quick. It's on about 30 minutes. So after you get over here, go and watch that. The Hidden Secrets of Money by Mike Maloney, episode 4. Go watch it, right? He's going to show you how the dollar is created. And then you're going to be able to see the scam, right? And that's what he called it. So, family, check this out. Now, that's $80 billion into the Treasury bond. The Treasury bond is what creates the debt in the first place. Then they let the banks bid on the bonds. This is how they get on the stock market and stuff here. That's what it is. All right. That's why they have a corporation stock buyback, stock sell-off. See, that's all the game. See, this man right here, he told us about this. Now, if you in the stock market, we're not telling you, we're not talking down about you. If you know how to go in there and get some capital, do your thing. Right? Do your thing. If you know how to go in there and get some capital, do your thing. But those who got hope in the stock market, those of you who sitting on 401k money, you better get rid of that. I'm not a financial advisor now. Just to be clear, I'm not a financial advisor. But you better figure out somewhere to put that safe at, because it ain't safe in there. In 2008, when that crash hit, everybody lost in the that had money in the 401k and in the stock market. You better find out something to do. You better find a safe place for it. So I'm just going to tell you that, right? So make sure you keep that in mind, family. This is not just something we throwing out there. Then they buying mortgage-backed securities. Y'all know what a mortgage-backed security is? Come on, family. A mortgage-backed security is a mortgage that has went into foreclosure. So they buying all this stuff back. Or it's mortgages that went into foreclosure, and it's also mortgages that's on the market that you got to buy from the Federal Reserve. You think you paying Regions Bank, Chase Bank? No. You paying Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve owns your mortgage. So if you don't pay it, if the dollar falls and you can't pay it, They come to get that. So when we tell you that owning a mortgage, yeah, you can have some leverage where you can get equity out of it. You've been paying on it so long. That's cool, but you don't own it. That's the point. Well, I'd rather do that than pay rent. Well, you might think like that. I would rather pay rent than be in debt. I don't owe nobody. Well, you need that. That's an expense. Rent is an expense. I would wait till I can buy me $1 million, $10 million home and just buy it outright. Well, I don't owe nobody. I still got to pay them bastards property taxes though. But that goes to the government. That don't go to the Federal Reserve. But when you got a mortgage, you paying the Federal Reserve. You paying the crooks. You paying the crooks. All right. So that's that. So let's get ready to close out with our last topic in our last article, the fall of the dollar. 23 countries now abandon the United States dollar. But before we do that, we want to hear more words from the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan breaking down this scam that we call the dollar, breaking down how soon we're going to see this dollar fall, and there's nothing that we're going to do about it, and he's going to break it down to the T. So let's check this out.
Is here now. So last Sunday I said Barack Obama inherited the fall of America. He inherited the collapse of her institutions. He inherited the end of her world. Now, there's some work for us to do. Last week, I talked about the international bankers and how they plotted against America from Europe. The Rothschilds, the Warburgs, some of these that have recently collapsed their fathers, international bankers. You may not have known it, but it's against the Constitution for anybody to print or coin or mint the money of the United States of America except the U.S. Congress. But these international bankers with some treasonous senators on Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia plotted and set up the Federal Reserve Act. And on December the 23rd, 1913, a law was passed in Congress that violated the Constitution, that gave international banking families the right to print the money that you have in your pocket. I have a document. International banking families the right to print the money that you have in your pocket. I have a document that shows how America got from $1,400,000,000 in debt in 1913 to now $65.5 trillion in debt. Listen to this. How many of you own your home or are buying your home? Would you raise your hands, please? Okay. Did you know that the debt of America is more than the value of every building that is on 3,000 by 2,000 square miles called the United States of America? As I said last week, right now the FBI building is up for sale. The Drug Enforcement Agency has already been sold. And what others are doing, foreign companies buying up taxpayer dollar buildings and leasing them back to the government. America is broke. Very, very broke. And no matter how much hope you have in the stimulus package, I'm here to tell you what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. He said that foreign wars and divine plagues are destroying the economy and the American way of life.
Now, you heard it there from Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. It's clear as day. So we know what's destroying America. Everywhere you look, there's a calamity going on inside of America. That stuff has to be fixed. Roads have to be fixed. It's keeping them building and building and building infrastructure. And that's why we see that condo down in Miami that collapsed. Y'all seen that? Huh. Okay. Pay attention. Now, what's happening? And it said it had something to do with the foundation that that building was structured on. Had something to do with that collapse. But Miami got a lot of water, got a lot of rain down there, right? Water is destructive. It might look good, but water is a destructive force that's used by Allah in person. Straight up. But let's get to it, though. 23 countries now abandoning the United States dollar. A new world monetary system is being set up right now, which will completely kill the United States dollar, which is the world's reserve currency. Meaning it's used throughout the world more than any other currency. 23 countries, 60% of the world's GDP are setting up swap lines which bypass the dollar, and SWIFT. Which is the dollar-based worldwide financial transaction system. That's SWIFT. They run SWIFT out of Germany. These countries include Russia, China, India, and even Germany, France, and the United Kingdom. Once the new system is in place, our dollar won't be needed in these countries, and a new reserve currency will come into being. All those dollars in foreign accounts will come home, which will annihilate our monetary system. Oh, Lord, that's deep. Because that's what the man said that wrote the book on Jekyll Island, the creature from Jekyll Island. That's what he said. He said what? He said the reason that the dollar ain't tanked now, because they've been exporting the debt. So they print all these dollars, but they don't come here. So they print those stimulus checks. A lot of that go to foreign countries. But what's going to happen when those foreign countries send all those dollars back home? Then we're going to see the dollar tank for real. That's when it's going to tank. And they starting to set it up. They setting it up now. China and Russia have been working on this for years. Russia is leading the charge That's why the final war that's going to break the dollar back and it's going to break the government of the United States back is going to be the war that they go to war, that they fight Russia. You think they ain't going to fight. They're going to fight Russia. That's America's next big war, and they're going to get smashed over there in Germany where they're going to fight. Where they're going to fight. Where they're going to fight. That's what's going to happen, right? So let's check this out now. Also, China just announced that it will stop purchasing debt holding dollars in reserve. So they ain't purchasing no more of those bonds. That's why the Federal Reserve buying them up. China not purchasing them no more. So the Federal Reserve got them. That ain't the government. The Federal Reserve is not the government. This will force the Federal Reserve to print even more dollars than the $85 billion it's currently printing. World Reserve currency have always had a limited lifespan, and ours is up. Historically, new world reserve currencies are backed by gold. Y'all got to pay attention to this, man. Shout out to my brother, big brother down in Washington, D.C., Frank Muhammad, for giving me this article. This who found this here, right? I try to have him on here with me, but we might get him on here next week because he knows he's a scientist on the low when it comes to this. I know he watching. Brother Frank, I know you're watching, right? But he showed me this, so thank you, brother. All praise be to Allah for you finding this and sending this to me because you knew if I get my hands on it, I wasn't going to just read it and make a post about it. No, we're going to make a whole live stream out of it because that's what we do in Foreign Money. We bringing you the fact about the collapse of this dollar. You can have faith in that dollar all you want. You can think what I'm saying is insufficient. You can think I'm insufficient. You better get your eyes off of me. You better listen at the message. You better get your eyes off of me. You better listen at the message. Right? Because it's happening. It's here now. For several years, historically, new world reserve currencies are backed by gold. Prices just dropped on gold and silver. Now it is time to buy. Protect your wealth, my friend. For several years, financial analysts, primarily those outside the mainstream academy, have been warning that any day could be the black swan event that collapses the dollar and ends the United States' power as caretaker of the world's reserve currency. That day has finally arrived as on November the 18th, a former head trader for a major financial institution issued a hard bank bingo and stated that 23 countries and 60% of the world's GDP are right now setting up new swap lines which bypass the dollar. SWIFT and the BIS and will usher in a new global currency system which will kill the dollar. Right? Which will kill the dollar. So I can't even stop. I want to stop, but let's go. The list of the 23 countries which are key new swap lines outside of the dollar include China, Russia, India, surprisingly Germany, France. Woo! Woo! Germany and France and the United Kingdom. This means that the Eurozone itself is abandoning the dollar and preparing for transition to a new central banking system. To facilitate the transfer of currencies and swap lines, there needs to be a bank of sufficient size and stature to aid in handling of this monumental task. 1 year ago, China, along with the BRICS is a mutual bank set up by Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Loan money to a new financial institution they established and labeled the BRICS Bank. This bank was created with the intention of bypassing the dollar and allowing free trade to occur between nations without the need to trade for dollars first, as it is currently the format under the petrodollar system. In fact, the new BRICS banks will function both as a bank of international settlement as well as a lender of last resort, eliminate the need for the BIS and the IMF, which currently reside under dollar dominion. Family, this is so deep. This is so deep, family. I hope y'all paying attention. I hope if you have any questions about what we say in Forward Money, please type it in the comment section. You can also send us an email, and we will send it back to you with your questioning. So our email address is forwardmoney76@gmail.com. That's forwardmoney76@gmail.com. Please make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Forward Money. We also have another channel, New Millennium Bankers. We on Instagram with this truth, Forward Money Network. We on Facebook, Forward Money Network. We on Twitter, Forward Money Network, New Millennium Bankers. Make sure you following us on all social media platforms, but make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel that you see this on right now. Forward Money, family. Let's get this information out. Please support us. We're not asking for no donation. We just asking you to lend the ear to what we have to say. And if you want to get outside of this, because one way that we have found to get outside of this system is blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. That's one way how we seen how to get out, how to take control of your earnings. If you put it in cryptocurrency, it's off the grid, meaning it's decentralized. You don't have to worry about anybody getting into it unless you just leave the information lying around and leave it sensitive somewhere, right? So we have found that out. So you want to, they're saying, this is another way. This is why the government of the United States are so afraid of cryptocurrency, so afraid of blockchain technology. Why? Because they don't control it. They don't control it, right? They once you have crypto, if you put it in a decentralized account, only you can get to that. Nobody else can get to your money. And you can trade it across the blockchain. You can liquidate it 24/7. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, but before we go, we just wanted to show that. But we got 2 more clips of the minister to end this broadcast. We want you to hear the minister talk about this last war with Russia. And then we want you to also, we're going to end with what we are looking for and what we're asking for that comes from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because this is what time it is, family. Without any economic independence outside of this dollar debt system, then we just fighting a blind war. We just fighting them blindly. We're not even swinging at the Federal Reserve. We're not even swinging at the Federal Reserve. They control the dollar that's in our pocket. So it's time to swing back. Stop getting hit in your mouth. Get you some gold, get you some silver. And also find you a safe cryptocurrency to get involved in and stop getting hit in your mouth. Because they're hitting you in your mouth every day. Every day you go to work for that paycheck, you get bust in the mouth. You ain't got no teeth in your mouth. Right? Straight up. So let's check this out real quick and then we'll be back.
He said, America is gone. Her money is gone. There's no more silver, no more gold. After a while, she may ask for copper. The money is worthless. Right now, the money has no value. This used to be a silver certificate that used to say, pay the bearer on demand $1 in silver. You can't get silver for it anymore. You can't get gold for it. It is the wealth of the country that's holding up the dollar. He said, soon you'll see money piled and burning in the streets. There will be another medium of exchange not coming from this country. He said, I warn you because I love you. Now listen to these words. She will fight and continue to fight. He mentioned Vietnam and other areas of Asia. But the last fight will be in East Germany and there she will be destroyed. Now I want you to stop with me a minute. I want to talk about East Germany.
Family, so we got this. That was 1996, and that lecture there that you want to hear that full breakdown. That lecture was did in Mars Marion in Chicago, 1996, and it's titled "The Destruction of America. Can She Avert It?" The Destruction of America. Can She Avert It? You can go to YouTube and watch that whole lecture. All right, and then we're gonna play 2 years after that. He did Savior's Day 1998 called What is Islam? Did 2 parts of that. Part 1 was in, I want to say the United Center, the United Arena or whatnot. I want to say it was there. He did that. He broke stuff down there. It's titled What is Islam? And then part 2, he was back at Mars Marion a week later after the main Savior's Day weekend. Then he did a part 2, What is Islam part 2, and we finna play you a clip from there, because on this clip right here, the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan asked for 100 millionaires in Chicago. So what we're asking for in Forward Money Network, because the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan teach us to be gods, teach us to tap into that God within, teach us to think big. We looking for 10,000 millionaires to help us come and fight in this beast and set up institutions all out through our community, because there ain't nobody coming in to do it, so we have to do it. So we saying unite with us, Forward Money Network. We have a plan for you, and we saying, family, the number one thing that you can do in this time period is get you some financial education. That's the number one thing. Get financial education. So I'm not telling you to jump in anything blindly. Get educated. Get educated. Get educated on what's happening and on what you can do and what you choose to do. Get educated on that space. Whichever space you go in, whichever direction you go in. But that job, my brothers and sisters that's running in and out of college, my nephew, he just finna go to college, finna go to Alabama A&M. I don't know what you're gonna do when you get out of there, nephew. You better come get in Forward Money now. You're old enough to come get in Forward Money with us now and still get your education. But if you go in there to get a degree, to come out and get a job, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry, nephew. Ain't gonna be no job for you. Ain't no job for you right now. And in just a second, there ain't gonna be no jobs. So you gotta do for self. So family, tap into what we're doing in Forward Money Network. This is what we asking for, because we just answering the call of our spiritual father, Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan. He asked for 100 millionaires. Damn it, we 10 times in that. We going to 100. We 100 times that. We asking for 10,000. Come join this organization, Forward Money Network, and get you some real money and get financially free and get the education you looking for and get the privacy you looking for. With that being said, family, we'll see y'all on the next broadcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the Digital Final Call. Donate to Muhammad Economic Blueprint. Go to store.finalcall.com. Order you the books of the Most Honorable Muhammad and the Honorable Mr. Louis Farrakhan and the DVDs that we got from the Nation of Islam. That's more of this sign, so you can have it just in case the enemy shut down the internet or take everything that we got off YouTube. You can have this literature. You can have these DVDs at your fingertips. And don't forget to subscribe to Forward Money YouTube channel, family. With that being said, family, don't leave until the minister break this down, because this is what we standing on. This is what we looking for. It's wartime. This fake dollar system is going to fall, and we better be prepared for it. Let's go.
Satisfied until we have the college level on the University of Islam. And if you help me by doing what you can in the economic field, Muslims, you shouldn't be around here looking to white people to give you a job. Go look in Message to the Black Man and the Economic Blueprint And if there are 4 of you, 6 of you, 8 of you together, pool your resources, go into business and set up business all over the south and west side of Chicago. I would like to see at least 100 millionaires among the Muslims in Chicago. If you're rich, I'm rich. And I can always come and tell you about the needs of a nation. But if you poor and we poor, hell man, we can't be around here poor. I want to see rich Muslims. And if you obey Allah, there's no reason why you can't make a business successful. You just have to get up and stop being lazy and trifling and go do something for yourself. So we're going to put together a trade delegation of Muslims and, well, everybody's a Muslim. But there are those who have not confessed Islam, but they are brilliant in business. We made promises to governments, and we're going to fulfill our promise. There's all kinds of investment opportunities. Diamonds, gold, uranium, oil. I mean, you name it, Africa is open. And the Europeans are coming in with money and they're taking Africa. Well, why can't we go? They're ready to sell gold mines to us. They're ready for us to develop gold. Well, where's Michael Jackson? Where's Shaq O'Neal? Where? We need to pull our moneyed people together and let's do some business now, because we can't build a nation on the charity of the believer. We can only build a nation on a strong economic foundation that's built on business, agriculture, agribusiness. Yes, sir.